right, back with another episode. I'm sure you've seen the face before. We got Coach Steven here today.
Yes, sir.
How you feeling today, man?
Good, man. I'm glad to be here, man.
Appreciate you for coming out.
No doubt.
So let's tell the people about yourself. You from Gaithersburg?
Gaithersburg, born and raised. I did elementary school in the district.
Okay.
Went to school in Silver Spring. I did high school at DeMatha in Hyattsville. I'm a coach. I do youth sports, boys, girls, basketball, wrestling, football.
Okay.
And just general mentorship, helping out the best way I can.
Okay. We need much more men mentoring. I had a couple guests on here that's into that, and it came out, and I was like, damn, that's really dope. I honestly think I want to get into it just on some personal shit.
Man, it's really rewarding. It's a reward itself to be, I always try to think about what I needed at that age. Mm-hmm. Somebody that could relate to me, not talk down to me, not talk at me, mm-hmm. but see what's going on with me from my perspective, mm-hmm. and really understand what I'm going through. So that's what I try to be every chance that I can. And guide these young men and women the best I know how.
That's beautiful. Honestly, that's very good. What's the best part about coaching for you?
Man, like I said, one of the best parts about coaching is the rewards, just seeing. And I'm huge on whatever sport I'm coaching, intensity, motivation, all those kind of things. But I'm also super into the things that you learn from team sports that translate into life, because it's a numbers game. Everybody's heard the numbers about who's going to go pro, who's going to do this. Everybody wants to. Mm-hmm. I can't promise you that I'm going to produce a professional athlete, but I can promise you when this young man or woman leaves me, they'll be a better person, or at least been guided in that direction. And seeing some of these kids that I coached at 8 years old, and then seeing them at 18 graduating high school and going to different colleges and doing visits and dressed up, like seeing that, it just gives you a sense of, you're going in the right direction. There is a light at the end of that tunnel. Yeah. You know what I mean? Even when it's difficult, even when they're difficult and they get difficult, but there's an end game to it. Yeah.
That's good. So what actual trait do you think is the most important that they learn from that?
Well, for me, accountability. Okay. I don't know if accountability is a trait, but
that counts.
Yeah. I always say accountability is the top tier thing, especially young men need. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a problem in a lot of areas these days. That's why we have troubles in schools and things like that, because there's no accountability, personal accountability for the things that you do, no matter the consequence, good, bad, this, that, the third. You did what you did. You said what you said. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when you're able to do that and have that accountability, you're able to grow and learn from your mistakes. If you don't acknowledge them, you're bound to repeat them.
Absolutely.
And that's just real life.
Okay. Yeah.
Wisdom.
Okay, that makes sense. So based on your background, what you think is your best trait or factor that makes you a good coach?
Man, one of the biggest things is I'm always willing to learn. I don't know everything. With my confidence and the way I do things, people will say, oh, he knows it all. He knows it all. But I don't know it all. And especially when it comes to football and different things like that, studying the game, taking the time and not just getting stuck in, I know football and I play Madden, and some of these guys are like this. And it's like any craft that you have, and not even on a professional level, just dealing with youth. You want to teach these kids the right ways to do things. So you can't just have in your mind, I know this is how it's done, bang, bang. Things change, things evolve, and you got to evolve with it. So my ability to adapt, I think, is one of the biggest traits that helps me with the kids.
So about what age group are you coaching?
So right now I'm coaching at the 11, 12, 13-year-old age range.
Okay.
But I've coached from right when they get in flag football to not coaching through high school, but training, working with kids, mentoring guys, helping them through that arena.
Okay. I know you got one of your sons is around that age. Do you coach him? He playing any sports?
I do. He plays football, basketball, and he wrestles.
Okay.
And I coach him in all three of those.
Okay. That's good. He does a lot.
Well, you know what I say, man? I tell people, man, kids need structure. They crave structure. That's one of the things that I think sports, any sport, whether it be a single person sport, karate, anything like that demands a discipline, it helps them, create good habits moving forward in life. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Deadlines, accountability. When you play a sport, the field doesn't lie, the court doesn't lie. When you hit the court game day, when you hit the field game day, mm-hmm. what you did previous is going to show. You know what I mean? That's when everything's peeled away. You can talk all the trash you want. You either put in the work or you didn't, and it's going to show, And your
teammates going to let you know.
100%.
Yeah. A lot of good qualities you can get from that. So since you do the coaching and you competing, how you feel about the participation trophies?
Man, that's a tough one. So I kind of look at it this way. I tell parents when they come up to me and they talk to me about playing time, you paid money for your child to play this, whatever sport it may be, correct? Mm-hmm. So you paid for the experience. You paid for the things that you get from a team sport, the getting in shape, the accountability, the teamwork, the bonding, all that stuff, right? You didn't pay for playing time. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Okay. So damn, I forgot where I was going with that. I'm sorry.
It was about participation trophies.
Oh. So what I'm saying is one part of it is, kids are there for the experience, and if they did all the work and got through all the season, they deserve maybe a memento, something like that. Mm-hmm. But on the other hand, it's like you didn't do anything. You didn't win a championship. What is this all about? Right. I'm just kind of in the middle with it. I don't know. So sometimes it's good because you get a kid that comes out and he might not be as athletically gifted as everybody at that time. Mm-hmm. And he gets knocked down and gets discouraged and doesn't have a great season, and then you don't have something to kind of uplift him at the end of the year, it might turn him away from football, when if he had just stuck with it another year or so and matured, he would be where he'd want to be. So I'm really kind of in the middle. I don't have a problem with it, but I get where people are coming from when they get upset about it.
I get that because I personally don't like them, but I can imagine if I was a coach and I was seeing the actual effects, my perspective would probably change. So I can understand that.
And there's also levels. Mm-hmm. My son plays on a level of football that does not have participation trophies. You know what I mean? There's no, you have to play this amount of plays. It's real competitive football. Mm-hmm. Now, when you sign somebody up for like a rec league type, less competitive type thing, then that might be a confidence building thing. That might be a good thing in that instance. You just have to know what you're signing up for. And I think a lot of parents don't really realize what they're signing up for sometimes when they go to like a travel team or a real hardcore elite youth sports team. It's not about, you're not going to get a participation trophy at those levels. You know what I mean?
That makes sense. Yeah, that's a good answer for sure. Okay, well, seeing how you got your kids about a decade apart, something like that, 10, 11 years, and then your difference between you and your oldest son, have you noticed just how they act differently, how the world is different for like a 10-year-old or 12-year-old?
You know what's
all three of the levels?
The crazy thing about my sons is that they are almost carbon cutouts of me. And it's crazy. I tell people all the time, I can be with either one of my sons and look across the room at them and see their posture, and I know what they're thinking. Almost like telepathy. I think the biggest difference is, and it goes the same for my older son to my younger son to myself, is, man, I don't want to say no, it's technology, but the exposure. Like we were exposed to stuff as kids, probably more real life, tangible stuff, than they are now. But the amount of information my oldest son was getting at 15, 16, and then the giant leap to where my 12-year-old son now is, and even down to my 5-year-old daughter, like just the amount of information that they have access to that, we didn't have back then. Right. So, and I guess it's a different sense. They're not getting the real life, I'm not going to lie. I messed around. I ran around. I was smoking weed, sneaking out of the house, stuff like that. Uh-huh. I don't see a whole lot of that now. It's more they're on the phone and they're seeing things that we necessarily didn't see. It's almost a different maturity that you see in kids earlier now. I don't want to say a mental maturity, but their brains have gotten so much information. They're just wiser to the world than we were, and even my son was. You know what I mean? The same difference, all three coming up.
So you think it's a good thing?
It can be a good thing and it can be a bad thing. You know, information is key. Mm-hmm. Education is the best currency that you can have. It can get you through the world. It can get you to places that you never thought you could end up at. Mm-hmm. But the wrong information at the wrong time to the wrong person in the wrong mindset could be super dangerous, you know? So, again, I think it's a double-edged sword. I mean, for sports, I think it's phenomenal for sports because it's like I told my nephew. He's a big-time basketball player in Virginia. Shout out, Kel. He was talking about, am I going to go to this school, that school, high school-wise, right? Mm-hmm. And I traveled from Gaithersburg to DeMatha every day. It was grueling, and that's why I didn't end up graduating from there, just because it was just too much with the school, 2 hours there, 2 hours, whatever. With the internet now, you don't have to send a VHS tape to a college. Mm-hmm. You can start a Twitter, and you can have every college, every Power 5 college recruiting department following you and watching your videos at any time, any chance they get. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So in that aspect, I feel like it opens up a lot of opportunities for young athletes, male, female, all over. You know what I mean? Just the exposure.
I get it. There's definitely advantages and disadvantages.
Yeah.
So that touches it. All right. Well, moving on to sports, since you brought that up, I know you're a big AI fan.
Oh, yep.
Who would you say is the best point guard? Actually, I really just want to know who you think is better between him and Steph Curry. But overall, you could.
Allen Iverson?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Are you a Steph Curry fan?
Yeah.
Oh, because I don't even, I don't feel like it's a comparison.
Really? Why not?
I feel like, and don't get me wrong, I'm not taking away from the greatness of Steph Curry. Steph Curry is a phenom. But he's, in my opinion, he's a sharpshooter. He's like a super advanced, you know, B.J. Armstrong or the shooters that Chicago used to bring in. You know what I mean? AI, man, he was doing it all. He was taking people to the rack. He was shooting threes. He was doing it all. Defense was crazy.
I think his shooting is so great that everything else gets undermined. So he got the handles and he takes
away
at the rim for sure.
That's definitely something I hadn't thought about. Yeah. It's so hard to say. And for me, especially because I got a bias, man, I loved AI. I loved AI on and off the court. I still do. I think I just shared him on my story this morning. You know what I mean? He was just an icon, especially at my age. I think I was, you know, just right around middle school to high school age, man. AI was everything. So I do have a bias.
So is he a GOAT point guard of all time?
He's my GOAT, my GOAT.
Okay.
Not now. That's not to say there weren't greater players than him. Michael Jordan is the GOAT, but he's my GOAT. Okay. You know what I mean? But then you look back and you got players like John Stockton and Starks in New York, and you had so many great point guards.
So who's your top?
Jason Kidd.
Who's your top 3 point guards?
I gotta say Allen Iverson. You know, in my DMV heart, I want to say Gilbert Arenas.
Oh, really? I wasn't expecting that.
You know, I really love Baron Davis, man. Baron Davis. When he was in Golden State with Steven Jackson.
I wasn't even watching them.
Oh yeah, this is what, man. They had a magical little run there. Yeah.
Okay.
It's been so many good point guards. Top 3 would have to be Allen Iverson, probably Jason Kidd, and then John Stockton.
Oh, so you don't need none of the newer guys.
Nah, man, because the point guards had to be tough, man. The toughness that John Stockton played with, the toughness that Allen Iverson played with, man. He was smart. Allen Iverson was not a big guy.
Yeah.
And he was in the key. Yeah. He played at the rim.
No question that the toughness isn't the same. I think that's just clear across the board. Okay. That answers that question. So you're a big Washington fan.
Big Washington fan, yes sir.
All across the board, just
all across the board. I'm a home team.
Love the hometown.
I'm a DMV guy. That's it. I love everything. I love where I'm from.
Okay.
But yeah, all the sports teams, Nationals, Wizards, Mystics.
How you feeling about the name change to the Commanders?
So, this is gonna be controversial.
Okay.
I'm a diehard Redskins fan. Okay. I have been saying for however long that it was an issue, we got to change the name. We got to change the name. We can't be hypocrites.
Mm-hmm.
We can't be hypocrites because of our hearts. If it was any other ethnic group that even one person came out and said, you know, that's insensitive, that bothers me, I feel like that's and the term red skin is a direct reference to the color of somebody's skin.
Right.
To me, it was so counterintuitive to everything that we're trying to achieve in society, to where I'm not a huge fan of the Commanders. I'm okay with it. That's fine. But I knew that Redskins had to go. Okay. And they're always going to be the Redskins in my heart. Mm-hmm. But
I feel you. You make a good point, because if that was any other group, that it would have been gone. For sure. And I even heard that they bringing back, I think they talking about bringing back the logo, but not changing the name back.
The logo wasn't disrespectful. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I don't have a problem with the Braves or the Seminoles or the, let's think, any of those other teams like that. But you got the Cleveland Indians. That mascot was crazy. Mm-hmm. That was one of the most racially insensitive mascots, I think, in history. And it just went away recently. Yeah. Like, that was crazy. You know what I mean? The Redskin symbol is a I think, an homage to the chief, to the Indian. The Seminoles, they don't come out in a big weird Indian costume. They got the Seminole on the horse with the spear, the way Seminoles were, representing them correctly and in a favorable light.
For sure.
So
yeah, if it was a different name, like it was called like the Chiefs or something, it'd be respectful.
Exactly.
So, okay. All right. Moving on to the Gogo questions.
Yes, sir.
Let's get into, what was your introduction to Gogo?
So my introduction to Gogo was my older brother. Okay. My older brother, he would come around, and he was about 15, 16, I think, years older than me. Okay. And he would come around, all his buddies would be packed in the van, and they'd pull up. And so my brother had gotten in a fight in Ocean City when he was 17. And somehow or another, somebody jumped on his back. He caught his neck on a railing. So he was a quadriplegic. He was paralyzed from the neck down. So when I said they pulled up in his van, he had the big wheelchair van. Okay. And I guarantee you, there's people out here in the go-go scene that remember Wheelchair Jimmy from Gaithersburg. But whatever. What the point is, he would pull up, and he had, the first tape he gave me was the Huckabucks, the Budweiser song, Bud Wise. There was a commercial Budweiser did with three frogs, and they would go, Bud Wise, and the Huckabucks did a Go-Go song to it. It was a white tape. I don't know where he got it from, but that was my introduction. Because they would pull up, and they would be so cool, and we'd be at the basketball court, and I'm like 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and we're playing basketball. They're 25, whatever like that, and they're playing. I'm like, yeah, man, this is I like this sound. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that was my introduction. And you know, going to school in D.C., and then going to school in PG County. I mean, Gogo was so big, especially in the late 90s, early 2000s when I hit high school. I mean, even where I lived in Gaithersburg, you know, we talked about it before. There was 900 Gogo bands. People that didn't even play instruments were starting bands. You know what I mean? Gogo was huge. I know Gaithersburg is super Maryland, and people want to talk about, is the DMV, whatever. We don't have to argue all that. I can tell you, in Gaithersburg, Gogo was big time, especially late 90s, early 2000s. Really? Yeah, it really was. So, you know, that was my introduction. That's how I got into it. And then, like I said, I'm super prideful about the DMV. I love our style. I love, you know, and let me preface all this by saying, I know and acknowledge DC is the epicenter of all this. But the epicenter of everything bleeds out into the surrounding area. And I love it. I love the style. I love the fact that the DMV has trends within trends. We don't care what everybody else is doing. This is, you know, the DMV, it's DC, but the DMV, it bleeds out to it. We're wearing New Balances when people weren't married. I know there's this whole big discussion about the Nike boots and this and that. Man, I remember 1997 dying to get a pair of Nike boots, but they were like $110 back then, and my folks was not spending $110. You know what I mean? And then you see it all. It's just I take a lot of pride in where I'm from. So that's one of the big reasons why I'm super into Go-Go the way I am.
It's crazy how far the lingo goes. Like glizzy is like a damn near global term now.
Yep. Trendsetters. Yeah. Always have been trendsetters. Howard University, music videos in the 90s, 2000s. Man, everybody knows about the HU.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean? Like, but even the style, man. I remember in 2000, I think it was 2003, maybe they had NBA All-Star Weekend in DC. I remember just being down in Georgetown and being, I think I was like 18 years old, broke. Probably took the metro down, but got down there and just looking at the style you could tell the DC guys, they just got a whole different swagger about them, and it was sweet. So, yeah, man.
Okay. Well, the next question was, what's your favorite Go-Go band? But I'm feeling like it's Rare Essence.
I love Rare Essence. I love the old Go-Go. It's hard to pick a favorite one because I enjoy them all. Backyard is always classic, always tops. Man, Jata from T.O.B. and Chris, man, they're off the chains. New Impressions, I've been big on. I like their sound a lot. It's hard to say a specific Go-Go band, but I love Reaction, ABM, all of them, man. I love the sound.
So if you could rank them.
Oh man, see, you want to get me, you want to get me in trouble, put me in the hot seat.
Gotta get a little spicy a little bit sometimes.
You want to rank them like how you
give me a top 5 that's still playing.
Top 5 that's still playing. All right, we'll say Backyard.
Okay.
We'll say
that's a safe answer.
We'll say New Impressions.
Okay.
We'll say T.O.B. Oh, man, you know what? That's kind of going with my heart, but let's say CCB's 4. But I love CCB. I'm a huge CCB fan. Okay. And then the ABM band would be my 5th right now. And that's not to take away from anybody. I love Reaction. I love Familiar Faces. It's a bunch of them, man, especially. And the thing is, too, is I've been out of touch with Go-Go for a long time. Like I said, late 90s, early 2000s, I was real big into it. I've been introduced to a lot of songs and a lot of bands and been able to listen to things that I hadn't listened to before. Some of the bands, like I say, I want to rattle them all off right now, but I've got to meet some great people, excellent musicians, singers, rappers, people that I would have never got to meet that I'm so excited that I've got to do so far. So it's hard to say, man. I love the scene right now, and it's been great to me.
Yeah, that's why I figured you'd have maybe a little bit biased because I see you interact with some of the guys. So I get it. And it's you was going in on T.O.B. a little bit. That song Open Your Eyes by them, I'm spinning it like 5 times a day right now.
Oh, that's one of my biggest videos everywhere. They call it the Go-Go Ballet.
Really? I didn't even see it. You dance to it?
Oh yeah. Okay. Oh yeah. That's that. I think that one has almost 10,000 likes right now.
Okay.
It's one of my big ones. But yeah, man, that song, I love it. I love that song. When I heard that, I was like, yeah, I got to get a joint to this.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to check that out when we done.
Yeah, and I want to say, if I can, man, one of the big contributors to this whole thing with me is Nucci and his Front Porch series. Yeah. Man, the bands that they got on there, the sound quality is great. It's great for making videos because you get great sound quality. You really get to see the musicians and the bands do their thing on the guitar, on the congos, and just the whole thing. Nucci has been amazing for the go-go scene, I feel like. And for sure. DMV hip-hop, that whole scene, man. Shout out to Front Porch. I love the Front Porch series.
Yeah, shout out to Nucci. He definitely got something special with that, 100%. So what made you even want to beat your feet?
So the crazy thing is, man, excuse me, like I said, back in the late 90s, early 2000s, I've been to the Mad Chef a couple times. I want to say it was the early 2000s. I think Juvenile was there. And one of my favorite bands of all time is Raw Image. That they were huge at that time, and I just shout out Big Six, Raw Image, Shake It Out, that whole everything right there, right? So that's when I started to go. Like I went to the Mad Chef. There was a couple other places we went to. I would see people beating their feet. And of course I come back to Montgomery County and I do my best version of beat my feet, which you saw how that went. But for a long time, man, big white dude, you know what I mean? I bust out the two little feet slide things. It's not very good, but people are like, oh yeah. Right? So I got up one morning and if you go back through my Instagram 10 years, it's go-go stuff in there. Just I make videos like that. I do dances. Like I'm a fun person. I love to dance. I love to listen to music. I like to sing. I can't sing, but man, do I like to sing. So I got up, and I think that very morning, that Nobody Knows You had just dropped the not the New Impressions one, but just the original bounce beat. And I said, man, I'm gonna do a little video of this joint. I'm gonna do my little 2-step, right? And I'm thinking, man, my 10, 15 friends, we're going to like it, laugh at it, whatever. Went to bed, got up the next morning, had like 2,000 likes. Man, when this started 4 months ago, I had like 350 followers.
Oh, damn. So
and
this
I'm
is
at
recent.
18,000. Yeah.
Jeez.
Now, so my people say, oh, this ain't recent. It's always been me, baby. I knew I was going to shine. I was just waiting for my lane.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or waiting for the attention to see it. You know what I mean? I've always been an entertaining guy. You know, and like I said, I'm into podcasts and things like that. So once I got my lane, it was like, I knew this was coming now. I just got to
Okay. Who
do my
knew
thing.
beating your feet was going to be the thing?
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But I think it was a lucky, that sound had dropped that day, and then it blew up, and then a couple DMV sites picked it up, and then, you know, it just started rolling like that. And then my man, Andy the boss, that I was telling you about, he hit me up. He said, hey, man, you want to make a video? And I was already, so I got a lot of comments about like, this guy's not from DC. He's not from DMV. He did whatever, right? So I was like, okay, I'm going to shoot downtown and shoot a couple videos. So they see, like, I'm, you know, at least local, right? Yeah. Andy hit me up, said, hey, man, come mess with me. Let's make a video. We made the funny video where he was like, me beating my feet, and he's like, ooh, brother, ooh, what is that, right? And then we made the video that I did at the Washington Monument and stuff, and it just kept rolling and rolling from there.
Okay, blowing up fast. All right, I love it. Okay, so since we already on the topic of people like you're not from DC and all of that, what would you say to people who say like you doing that is cultural appropriation? Okay,
so I do get this a lot, and I've wanted to address it.
Okay.
So today I Googled cultural appropriation, the definition. What is it? Because I have an idea. You know how you know a word and you know what they're saying.
Yeah.
I want to know the definition. And it said it's the taking from another culture, unacknowledged, to use in your daily whatever you do, right? I can't argue and say that I am not taking a African-American cultural thing and partaking in it. What I can say is, though, and I feel like my whole journey so far can be documented and see this, is that I have acknowledged every single band. There's never been a time where I've said, you know, this is original music or not done an act. And that's why a lot of the bands mess with me, because I take their music and I use it, but I always make sure I say this is an amazing band, New Impressions or Backyard or whatever like that, right? So on top of that, anybody that's reached out to me, like I said, I take a huge amount of pride of being from the DMV. Says, hey, you know, I'm a clothing designer from the DMV. I have some clothing. Would you wear it in a video? Absolutely. Send it to me. This right here, custom hoodie. Young lady made this for me. I love it. Did a video in it. I'm not asking for anything. I literally, and this is, I think, what people don't understand. I'm a regular ass guy. I coach football. I work what you could call, you want to hear something funny? My occupation, I'm a miner.
Okay.
A miner. Now,
really?
Not in
like
the
in
sense that you think I'm not like chipping coal and shipping it out.
Okay.
Say you have a facility in a mountain and it's in tunnels. I work on the engineering techniques to keep the tunnels from caving in.
Okay.
Point is, I'm a regular guy. Do I want to parlay this attention into maybe a podcast thing or my comedy stuff? I like doing stand-up comedy and things like that. Absolutely. Do I want to start a go-go band? No, I'm not starting a go-go band. I'm not starting a DC-based clothing brand. I'm not, I am, what I would say, not taking this, I'm just enjoying it. Plus, you got the singers, you got the musicians, the guitar players, the engineers, the music guys, the lighting guys. Man, these people are amazing talents. And I don't think go-go bands have ever gotten the props that they really deserve for the real music and musicianship and things that they do. They've got a sound that they've created themselves, and they've been able to sustain it, even just regionally, but even nationally. I mean, you look at Big G, man, he's parlayed Gogo into a full-on acting career, 2 series on HBO. You know what I mean? Like, these are people who are super talented, and they deserve the recognition, not just from DC, but from everywhere, because this is real music. And I think it's great for them because they deserve it. This is why they do it,
For sure.
And that's why sometimes I don't understand the resistance of, like, say, me being white, because honestly, there's a large group of white people that love go-go music. I can tell you that 100%. That wouldn't necessarily have the guts for what other white people will say about them to do what I do, but I'm just me. You know what I mean? So I don't care. But if these people, a good example is, I live in Martinsburg, West Virginia. Since I've started this, I'm hearing more go-go at football practices and football games in West Virginia than I've ever heard. And I'm not saying I'm completely responsible for that, but I feel like I'm opening ears and eyes to amazing musicians, amazing singers, people that are super talented that may not have been on them before.
Mm-hmm.
So
definitely something. You're definitely reaching somebody.
So, I mean, yes, I am partaking in a African American cultural thing, a DC cultural thing, even though I'm not from DC. But what I can say is, no matter where I am, I was down in Austin, Texas recently.
Mm-hmm.
I had somebody come up to me, "Hey man, you're that guy that dances to go-go." "Yeah, man, I'm from the DMV." And we talked about it. And it's like, when you're from the DMV, and this goes white, black, at least from where I'm from, people that I know.
Mm-hmm.
When you hear that beat, wherever you are, you know what I mean? The toe starts tapping. You start to feel a certain type of way. At least for me, like I said, my group of friends, man, when that comes on, it does something to you.
Yeah.
It ignites a regional pride, I guess, or whatever it is. But,
Okay. I think that's a good answer. That sums it up. So the way I was exposed to you was the white people challenge video. That's the first thing I saw. And I was looking, like, who is this guy? He beating his feet and everything. Do you ever get like negative feedback from white people? Like, they don't like you doing what you do, whatever? So
my whole life, I've gotten negative feedback from white people.
Okay.
So, my whole life, everybody's been trying to tell me I'm not who I am. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
For whatever reason, you can say it's always, I got this comment today. "You're trying way too hard to be black."
Mm-hmm.
Listen, this is me. I mean, from a small child, I just have been enamored by hip hop culture, the DC culture, going to school in DC and seeing my friends' older brothers, with the shooters and the madness, and just seeing this unique style that you didn't see, especially in an era where everybody wanted to be from New York and stuff like that. I've just always been drawn to the hip hop culture, DC culture, that type of culture, right? I talk the way I talk. I enjoy the type of music that I talk. It's not me trying. I'm literally just being myself. Like, if you hung out with me, you can see. Now, just like everybody has many faces. You know what I mean? Like, this is how I talk every day. Mm-hmm. But I think, like myself and anybody else, when I walk into, say, a board meeting or something like that, I'm going to probably clean up my grammar a little bit. Mm-hmm. I mean, I just feel like that's something that you do. But this is just me. So the hate that I get is, you want to be black, and, you're trying so hard to be this, you're trying so hard to be that. You're trying really hard to convince me that I'm trying when I'm just being me. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So, and, a lot of stuff gets buried. I've had a lot of supporters that have known me a long time that have come out and made comments, but not even to sound crazy, but I get so many comments and stuff in a day that I think it gets buried. Mm-hmm. But this has just always been me. Okay. And that's the only hate that I get is from white people saying you're trying to be black. And the crazy thing is, in this day and age where inclusivity is so big and we are moving along so far with, if you identify as what you identify, God bless you, that's fine. Mm-hmm. But if I talk with a certain vernacular or a certain accent, it's like the world comes down on me. It's kind of crazy.
Good point.
So I'm going to continue being me. Mm-hmm. I love everybody, even if some of them don't love me. So I keep that energy out there, and I feel like I get good energy back. So I'm good with it.
Yeah, okay. Well, from my perspective, you seem like a pretty authentic guy. I'll say that. But you think that's lacking in the world today? Just authenticity, people really being who they want to be, who they are?
Yeah, I think so. 100% because, I think one of the ways that I've been able to come across as authentic is that I didn't just stay a guy dancing on the internet. The band said, hey, come out to a show. I came to a show. You know what I mean? A lot of people are able to hide behind a camera. And this is what I was talking about with organic conversations and podcasts, things like that. People are not having organic interactions with people anymore. So it's easy to sit behind a camera and portray yourself any way you want to portray yourself. You know what I mean? But myself, I said, you know what? They're right. I can't do all this and then be a hop, skip, and a jump away and not shoot down to see a show. You know what I mean? Contribute to it. You know what I mean? Look, that's the crazy thing is I'm still paying to get into shows. I'm not. That's what I'm saying. Back to what we were saying about the whole appropriation thing is I'm not taking anything. You know what I mean? I'm authentically a Gogo fan. I enjoy the music. I listen to it on my free time. In all honesty, my wife's not the biggest fan of Gogo, and it drives her crazy. And especially now, because it's always going on. But anybody who's known me for a long time knows that I've always loved Gogo. I've always been into urban streetwear, especially DC-based streetwear, madness, shooters, all that stuff, man. So, unfortunately, social media didn't come around until I was much, much older. So the photographic evidence is not quite there. But this has just always been me. Now people are just paying attention.
Yeah, I feel it. So what's your favorite like DC trend or
the
brand?
Fashion brand?
Yeah, something specific like Nike boots, Sabiato.
So
like that.
my favorite, I can tell you, favorite all-time brand, Shooters.
Okay.
I'm a huge sweatsuit guy. You know, we would travel down to the Shooter store. We'd get a couple sweatsuits. There was a couple different stores in Wheaton Plaza that carried Shooter sweatsuits and stuff like that. Like, I was big into Shooters. And that's why in my one video, the transformation video, I looked at I said, I know I got some stuff in here. Looked in and found my front zip Shooters hoodie t-shirt, got to put it on. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm saying. I've been doing this a long time. You know what I mean? To have a gym like that still in the closet, you know what I mean? 4 sizes too big, looking like a tall tee on me. You know what I mean?
Can't buy it nowhere.
Yeah, man.
I feel that. Okay. Getting a little bit personal. I know you lost your brother.
Yes, sir.
What is that? Describe what that's like dealing with that.
So that situation gave me a realization of a huge lesson in life that I think has helped me in a lot of ways. So when that happened, it broke my father. It broke him down, right? And I was like 15, I think 14, 15, something like that.
And you say he's like 15, he's about 30?
So yeah, he was a good bit older than me. And he had moved to Boston, so he had been away for a long time. But seeing it break my father down the way it broke him down, losing a child, it really brought me to the realization that when people have children, we look at them like, okay, they're a parent now. You're a parent now, and that's a fact. You're now responsible for another life that you got to take over. But because you become a parent doesn't mean you stop being a human. You know what I mean? Emotions, sadness, ups, downs, all that type of stuff. It just gave me a different perspective when you think back on your life, and a lot of people will look back and say, oh, you know, they'll say because of their personal decisions that it was caused by childhood this, childhood that. But you got to look back and you got to put in perspective the fact that parents are still people, and they had things going on, emotions. They had ups, they had downs, they had relationships, all kinds of stuff. The same things that we deal with today, they were dealing with the same way. And it just helped me put things in perspective when it came to thinking about my parents and taking accountability for choices that I made that got me certain places or didn't get me certain places in life. And but I honestly feel like that situation specifically was like a turning point in my life where I realized that fact. And I mean, the year later I had a kid, so it just gave me a good perspective to think about when I became a parent and just looking back on what my parents did or tried to do for me.
Yeah, okay. That's a very healthy perspective, because when I talk to people who blame their parents for things, that's what I say. Like, imagine if you was 23, you just had a kid, and whatever your parent was doing at the time, how would you be acting? Like,
exactly.
You know, so and yeah, you hit the hammer on the nail with that one for sure. Okay. Last question. I always close it up with, if you had 30 seconds to address the world, you had the world's attention for 30 seconds, what would you say to them?
If I had 30 seconds to address the world, what I would say is this. Pay attention to what they're feeding you. Pay attention to what they're feeding you. They want to convince you that we are at war with each other. The people want to convince you that these things are going on in the streets that are not happening. Listen, we're all human beings, okay? We got to show more kindness, we got to love, and we got to respect. With that type of atmosphere, we can make sure that we continue to be the best country, the best people, the best civilization that's ever been. So my biggest thing to everybody in the world, man, love each other. Just try loving each other. It's so much easier. And it makes so much easier on everything that we have coming up. Listen, if you don't water the garden, it won't grow. That's pretty much all I got to say.
All right. That sounded pretty good. Well, that's all I got for you, man. I appreciate you for coming out.
No doubt. I appreciate you.
Anything you wanted to close out with on your own?
Hey, Coach Steve _ the illest on Instagram. Follow me. I'm all around. You see me out, say what's up. Fuck with me, Mo.